The 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly begins with a changing of the flags to mark the handover from the previous assembly. UN General Assembly President Csaba Kőrösi takes over the leadership. The Hungarian diplomat addressed the media for the first time in his new role.
Food crisis, what we have witnessed in the world, and the skyrocketing prices have affected almost all nations of the world. They were amplified and enlarged by the war going on in Ukraine and by the disruption of the chain of supplies. I commend the efforts of the United Nations Secretary General, which brokered a deal to continue the exports from Ukraine and Russia of grain and fertilizers.
A global food crisis is a chief concern this year, and UN events are focused on food and agriculture, as well as how to prevent famine and fight food supply issues. On Monday, the International Labour Organization released a report with estimates showing 50 million people worldwide are living in modern slavery. The ILO, Walk Free, and International Organization for Migration say forced marriage and forced labour have increased significantly over the last 5 years.
The temptation is and would be to say, well, this is COVID, isn't it? You know, COVID's upset everything, and now it's created an increase in forced labour. I think actually that's too simplistic. I do not deny that COVID has been a contributor, but we see with forced labour, as by the way we have with child labour, increases which predate the advent of the pandemic.
Climate change is also high on the agenda for this year's UN General Assembly, as is education, with a 3-day summit starting on Friday to mobilise action to transform and prioritise education globally between now and 2030. There are high expectations this year for the General Assembly after a few years of virtual events held during the global COVID-19 pandemic. Most of the official events this year are being held live at the UN headquarters in New York, with the hope that in-person diplomacy will help create cooperation for some of the world's most urgent issues. Malone, CGTN, at the UN headquarters in New York.